this... Oh, they don't. Medevac does get away. So both of them are kind of low on HP now. So that's pretty clutch, saving those units.
Yeah.
Do you use the auto repair function a lot, or do you actually right-click your SCVs to repair more often than auto repair?
More often than not, I'll like press R and left click, and then shift and click some more.
That's good. Good to know. Actually, I don't. For some reason, I mean, I know about auto repair, and when I play Terran, and maybe it's just because I don't play them enough, I always forget to use it.
It's a nice function, but it's generally for fights rather than situations like this.
Gotcha. Okay, so it looks like he's got a ton of Zerglings outside your base now. Do you feel like he's got the map control now, or do you just want to let him continue to think he does?
This is like a big moment where I'm unleashing the giant right now. I've got a pretty good tech advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 1-to-1 grades upgrading, so that's pretty big. He's got no evolution chambers available or on the map anywhere. I kind of didn't know about the golden mineral patch.
Right.
That eluded me, so I could have just sent one dropship there and killed it, but I didn't. As I said, I wasn't totally thinking straight this game. As you can see, my army composition having... It's pretty weird.
Band of misfits.
Yeah, I said I'd go for healings to kill all these Zerglings, but I made 4, so I didn't play particularly great, but it still worked out. So this fight... Is yours on 1420?
Nope, I'm at 1438 right now.
Oh wow, you're quite a bit ahead.
Are you on fast or faster?
Faster.
Oh, weird. I don't know why that would have happened. Okay, I'm at 1439.
Okay, I need to go back a bit then.
Oh, no, you're... Okay. I just paused it, sorry.
Okay, I'm paused at 1443.
Okay, so I will... Okay, go ahead and start now.
Okay.
We should be pretty close.
Yeah.
So now his Hydra is actually... I did see a couple transfusions go off, and he was able to push your units back. How clutch do you think transfusion is in a situation like that?
Not that clutch, and I'll tell you why. If you look at that natural, the base, it had like 20 drones on it before, but now it's got 4, and he's Maynarding a few over.
Right.
So he lost a hell of a lot more than it looks like. Even though I lost all my units, I mean, I'll build them back up in a second, no problem. I'm leading on the upgrade front, so this is just kind of a downhill fight for him right now. Right. I know that I can keep running back. Marine or MMM is just so much better than Hydra forces right now, so I'm pretty comfortable.
That's interesting. And he's now getting a Baneling nest up. Do you think that's a good play from him, or what do you think?
Yes, it is a good play, given that he knows I'm playing pretty much MMM only. But I'm not sure. I would have preferred to see him fasters with this kind of play, like this heavy Zergling Hydra play. I'd have preferred to see one Infestor pop out with a fungal growth. That would have been much better.
Right.
So he tried to cut off my dropships here with these Hydras and realized he was a bit late.
Yes.
So now I'm going to deny his natural again.
Okay. So that is very key in your TVZ play on this map, that's for sure. And he's Maynarding even more drones over here to his natural, but to the gold. But you still don't know about that. Is that just because you're sick, or is it just do you normally lack scouting, or?
Do I normally lack scouting? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll blame it on being sick for now, but it could well be a lack in my gameplay right now. But against Zerg, normally I'm pretty good. I'd like to say I'm pretty strong against Zerg.
It seems like Zerg can pretty much expand anywhere, so it forces you to like not only scout the areas you think he'd expand, but the areas that you don't think he'd expand to.
Right.
You know, like he was clearly on the back foot almost this whole game, and yet he was able to take a third base. Like if I was playing him, I would not have expected him to have a third base by now.
Right.
So,
that was my fault, partially, but if you look at the income tab, I'm still ahead. Like, I've got more harvesters, more gas, more minerals coming in, and my army's bigger than his. Like if you look at my army now, this is a pretty
Sizable
good
force.
death squad. Yeah,
It is, yeah.
and his army's pretty good too, but I micro a bit here, and he can't really do anything. Like
No.
my marines run to the back.
See, the
So-
banelings there, they just did not seem that overpowered because he ran about, 8 or 9 banelings into your marauders. And
Yeah, it wasn't enough banelings at all. I mean, if he had one fungal growth there, I wouldn't have been able to move my marines back, and just yeah, it wasn't that great.
So yeah, that is the end of Game 2 and TVZ, and we're going to move on to TVP. What do you think the big differences of TVZ and TVP are?
Ooh, that's a pretty tough one.
In terms of play style, more or less, like, do you feel like the Terran needs to be more passive or aggressive, or is it kind of the same?
Against Zerg, you have to be aggressive. Although recently with mech play, you can be pretty defensive and get away with it. But usually the way Terrans play against Zerg is, or at least from my experience, you have to deny, or you have to make the Zerg waste as much time getting his economy going as possible. And you kind of attack just before his economy hits its peak, and then you kind of win. Against Protoss, it's kind of like a tit-for-tat game. One base against one base, you're both pretty even. Whereas against Zerg, if it's one base against one, you're ahead. So the Zerg's always going to be vying for those extra bases, those, higher economy flow. Whereas against Protoss, you don't really have that worry, so it's not like a time bomb. But you do have to make sure that his rushes, like Protoss is has a lot more options than Zerg to rush a Terran. Zerg has some cheesy builds like Baneling busts that work, but in general, they can't really rush you with anything that's going to work. Whereas Protoss, they have Void Ray rushes, they had the 5-gate rushes, they had Immortal rushes. It goes on for quite a bit, even drops and stuff. So, yeah, you're kind of like a role reversal, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
That is interesting for sure. What do you think the future of TVZ holds? Is it going to stay this way, or do you think they need some serious balance changes in order to move forward?
Right now, with the way things are, I think it's going to rely heavily on drops from the Zerg. You can't go toe-to-toe with tanks, even if you have double the supply or double the cost of an army. You just can't. So I think drops are going to play a huge part from the Zerg perspective unless tanks are changed. For the Terran, he's still going to be going tanks until they are changed because they're just the best unit. They're just they are.
So many people were anti-tank at the beginning, and then they made that one splash change, and everything changed so much.
Right. I didn't actually think tanks were that bad at the start. I mean, I didn't really use them a lot, but in TVT they were still like really good. I mean, if you run any ground army into tanks, you're going to lose out. Like, it's just the way that it works.
It's the tank. I mean, it's the StarCraft 1 ground superior unit. What do you expect?
Right. But in StarCraft 1, if you had 20 tanks lined up, like, yeah, that's a good army. But if you have enough Zealots, you can kind of break into that. Whereas in StarCraft 2, if you have 5 tanks and something in front of it, every shot's going to count because of that no misfire thing, whatever they have.
Yep.
And their splash is a lot better because units clump so much better in StarCraft 2. I mean,
you're right.
You look at the Archon splash, people class that unit as useless, but it's actually a pretty good unit. I mean, it's a tank. It's not meant to be amazing, but it's pretty good.
Nope.
I think splash should be more based around that size rather than the tank and Baneling.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think having every unit having a different splash radius can be a good thing, but yeah, like, it can be very imbalanced as well, so.
Right.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the third and final game. It'll be on Metalopolis, I believe. So viewers, go ahead and check that one out as well.